Death Troopers versus Clone Troopers. Which one is better and which one would win in a fight? Now for this video, it's going to be a standard clone trooper, not an ARC trooper, clone commando, or jetpack trooper, just a regular clone trooper, because any Republic Special Forces would dominate against just about any Imperial trooper. So let's take a look at both of these soldiers. Death Troopers were an elite variant of stormtroopers specializing in stealth, espionage, lethality, and served the Galactic Empire. They acted as protective detail for significant Imperial officers within the Empire. They had specialized black armor and helmets with vocal scramblers, micro-motion sensors, heads-up display with data on enemy and friendly positions on the battlefield, and Death Troopers were trained in unarmed combat, heavy weapons, demolitions, improvised weaponry, and guerrilla warfare, alongside with marksmanship. A standard clone trooper is still a clone of the Mandalorian Jango Fett, one of the best bounty hunters in the galaxy. They were raised and trained on the planet Kamino for the Galactic Republic's army. They also had an organic inhibitor chip which was implanted into the brain of every clone trooper with battle plans and loyalty to the Republic. Clones were expected by their brethren to be obedient and follow the chain of command, believing that their compliance reflected the commitment to the Republic. Good soldiers follow orders, and their training was more or less trial by fire, being directly sent into the Clone Wars. They were highly effective and superior to their droid counterparts, and they also defeated the Jedi Order. Death Troopers were also modified, subjected to a battery of physical tests and classified surgical enhancements that drastically enhanced their physical and mental attributes such as strength, speed, agility, reflexes, and stamina, putting those attributes far beyond human levels. And additionally, Death Troopers had to complete rigorous training in exotic environments to be stronger, faster, and more resilient than normal stormtroopers. The experience of the Clone Wars and Kamino and cloning facilities were probably on par of the training of Death Troopers, and most likely Death Trooper training was to make them as close as possible to the clones that fought in the Republic, giving the Empire the basis of what a soldier could and should be. Now let's take a look at their weapons. The standard issue clone trooper blaster was a DC-15A blaster rifle manufactured by BlasTech Industries, a powerful and deadly rifle even at long ranges. The weapon's built-in targeting systems could be connected to the heads-up display of the clone trooper helmet, and it could be modified with scopes, long-range optical systems, tripods, and other stabilizers alongside with an ascension cable. Clones were also given a DC-15A blaster carbine, which was overall the same as the DC-15A rifle but with shorter range and a little less firepower, and was better for close quarters combat. While Death Troopers were armed with a E11D blaster carbines that were also manufactured by BlasTech Industries. The E11D was designed for close quarters and urban combat situations. The carbine traded range and accuracy for stopping power and short-range performance, and it maximized its fire rate and intensity, and it could also be modified with a grenade launcher. Death Troopers were also armed with a SE-14R blaster pistol that was again manufactured by BlasTech Industries. Both Death Troopers and regular clone troopers typically carried thermal detonators, and their weapons had stun capabilities, while Death Troopers were also armed with sonic imploders and thermal imploders for larger targets or vehicles. If these two were to go head-to-head 1v1, I think a Death Trooper would come out victorious. With specialized training and superior armor to the standard clone trooper armor, the E11D blaster rifle would put a hole through clone trooper armor. A clone trooper does have the upper hand at a distance with the DC-15A blaster rifle's long-range capabilities compared to the close-quarters combat weapons of a Death Trooper, but Death Troopers were also highly trained marksmen with the DLT-19D heavy blaster rifle, so unless a clone trooper is catching a Death Trooper with a E11D at a distance, the Death Trooper would again come out victorious. If it was a squad of Death Troopers versus a squad of clone troopers, it would be a bit more interesting. Clones formed a tight brotherhood on Kamino and were effective squad units. However, Death Troopers again would have the upper hand. Their helmets, like clone trooper helmets, featured a number of advanced sensors and targeting systems, giving them total situational awareness of combat areas of their enemies and allies. But Death Trooper helmets also included voice scramblers, which allowed them to speak in Death Trooper encryption, impossible for anyone except another Death Trooper to understand, and their armor also gave out electromagnetic signals commonly found in sensor arrays, which possibly could have interrupted the clone trooper helmet's targeting systems. They also had superior armor to the white plastoid plates of clone troopers, as clone trooper armor could withstand impacts, pressure, heat, and acid vapors, but it was vulnerable to direct blaster fire. And again, with the Death Troopers E11D blasters, it would punch a hole straight through their armor. Death Troopers were experts at covering their tracks and left little evidence of their missions, even including taking down a squad of regular clone troopers. And to solidify the Death Trooper victory over regular clone troopers, if you replaced the clone army with Death Troopers, they would have been just as effective, if not better, against the Separatist droid army, and they maybe would have been able to take down the Jedi during Order 66, as it was clone special forces like ARC Troopers, clone commandos, and Marines that really finished the job in defeating the Jedi during Order 66. So, who do you think would win in a battle between a regular clone trooper and a Death Trooper? Comment down below, subscribe if you would like, and until next video, goodbye.